Hey guys, so today I'm going to talk about a new segment of my channel that I wanted to do at least once a month called Questions and Answers. A lot of people seem to have questions when it comes to fursuits or costumes, so I'm going to answer a couple questions that you guys sent me through social media. To read 10 questions that were asked through social media, Twitter and Instagram. And these are the ones that I thought were pretty cool, so I'm going to answer them for you and hopefully they will help. And every month I will answer another 10 questions and they will vary from subject to subject. But right now we're going to start with the subject of fursuits or costumes. So we have a question from Riley Coyote. What's the most important piece of advice you have for a newer fursuit maker trying to get into the market? Well, this one is more like my opinion. Don't try to get into the market as your goal, I guess, right away. Try to create something that you like, try to improve your craft, and pretty much go from there. Post things on eBay or Furbuy or any of the auction sites, post it on Twitter. Try to see if people want to buy your work first, because the biggest problem I see is people are trying to sell stuff when they're not ready, and then they get super upset because nobody wants to buy their thing. So just pretty much test the market, but really practice your stuff before you try to sell it, because a lot of people are jumping into the, hey, I haven't even finished my first costume, but I'm going to take 10 commissions. Don't do that. Seriously, like, just practice. It took me years to get noticed by anybody, and I mean, I'm really glad I did not sell my first, my second, my third, my fourth costume because they were atrocious. So just keep practicing, and maybe after a couple of the ones that you've sold and your friends are being honest and tell you that you should be selling stuff, then go for it. But don't get into the whole like, oh, hey, I'm going to just create a studio and everything's gonna be fine. It's not that easy. I'm telling you, as personal experience, running a business is extremely hard. You can totally do it, but start it off as a hobby and then see if your hobby ends up exploding and becoming something. Don't rush. Take your time on that. So next question would be by Dust Kitty. Is it just you working on them, or do you have friends or a team to help you out? Oh, I read that like an idiot. I run a business, so I can't just do it by myself. So I have 4 people working here. I have 3 employees at the moment. And we divide all the projects into like bits and pieces. So I take care of most of the heads, actually all the heads, and I do all the detail work on that. Then I have somebody else who's working on just straight-legged bodies, and then I have the other person that's working on the padded bodies. And the other person is taking care of odds and ends such as hands and feet. If you divide chunks to everybody, pretty much little projects, then things make a lot more sense. And that's why we can take larger volumes compared to somebody who's doing maybe 1 or 2 costumes by themselves per month. So yes, I don't work by myself. Phoenix Wolf asked, if you weren't making fursuits, what job would you like to be doing? This one is kind of complicated because I never expected this to be, I guess, my end-all sort of thing, because when I started doing this was because I genuinely got scared when I was graduating college, and I went for a computer animation degree. And at the time, a lot of the people in the area were trying to apply to like EA Sports and stuff, and I really wanted to work for Pixar, and I wanted to work for a couple of the animation companies. I also wanted to apply to EA. I got really scared in sending my stuff, and I didn't think my demo reel was up to par with everybody else's. I thought it was kind of garbage. And the thing is I try to be a perfectionist with everything I do, and it wasn't good enough. So I started making costumes kind of on the side because people seem to like them, but I never expected it to blow up the way it did. So it's one of those, like, I wasn't expecting to make it like my full thing. I wanted to go into animation more than anything. It worked out in the long run, so I'm very happy with what I do right now, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But if, let's say, the fursuiting thing never came along, I probably would have stuck being an animator, or I would have been doing a lot of concept artwork, or just anything to do with art and movies or TV or games and stuff, anything that has to do with the creative field. So mine may not be exactly what I studied, but it's kind of a different thing because I get to model in 3D, but on the person itself, instead of just doing it on the computer. But I still get to model in 3D print it out and create molds. So I mean, the stuff you studied at school, it doesn't go to waste. It's just one of those, I went with a different career in a way. It's like more into the seamstress side of things. But I'm happy with it, so no regrets really. Next question would be from I'mSoft and says, have you ever had an airbrush clog even though you've cleaned it like 1,000 times? Or well, not necessarily a clog, but when you have an airbrush machine problems, what do you do steps to solve this issue? I have this all the time. So sometimes I'm not the cleanest person when it comes with the airbrush. I'm airbrushing and I'm doing a whole body, or I'm doing the head and I'm switching between colors and everything. The problem is the Createx inks have a latex inside, so they gum up the machine, and you're supposed to clean them every single time you use them, and when you don't, you're dealing with a lot of issues. I mean, I go through airbrush little systems kind of every 2 years, and I shouldn't. I mean, now I clean them a lot more often because if you get lazy, stuff's gonna get really expensive in the long run. The best way to clean it when you think you're just gonna give up and throw away that poor little airbrush, carb cleaner. It is horrible on your hands. It'll destroy pretty much anything. Like, do it with gloves because my nails are trash because of that stuff. I am constantly using it. It smells horrible. Do it in a well-ventilated area, but it'll literally eat through any clog. So have some carb cleaner, shoot it into the nozzle, take the whole thing apart, clean it. That way, that is like the most abrasive cleaner that you could put on that thing, and it'll eat any clog. But avoid that if you can. Don't do what I do and wait until you're like panicking and have an issue with it. So, but carb cleaner is like the best thing that you can find if everything is gone awry. How did you get into fursuit making and how long has it been? I got into this completely sort of out of the blue. My mom used to sew and I was really interested in it as well, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was more into like anime stuff and everything, and I wanted to create my own outfits, and she saw that I needed help with stuff, so she showed me how to sew, which was great. But then I started bringing fake fur home, and she did not know how to work with that. I destroyed my mom's sewing machine because I jammed so much fur in there that it didn't know what to do. This is when I also found out that not all sewing machines are made the same. So keep that in mind. Sewing machines can get broken quite easily. But I've been doing this, if I count from the time that my mom started helping me, from like 2001. So it's been a long time before I went to college and I was still in high school. She just thought I was gonna make, the dresses. I'm gonna be super girly. But no, I actually want to wear a giant dog. So, sorry mom, but hey, thanks for showing me how to sew. Yay. Look at me now, mom. Yay. So, next question. Maddings is asking, what got you into making suits and turning it into a business? This one's similar to the other question. It's pretty much just like a random fluke. I got into it because people really liked it. They started buying it, and it went from I was getting so much attention over certain pieces that I decided that it was not okay to keep it as a hobby, because it's just, I mean, if enough people want it, you should really consider making it into a business. Again, the thing that I recommend to all the newbie makers, don't make it into a business first. Wait till people really want your stuff and then start to sell it. So one step at a time. Axel was asking, what's the best type of cleaning product and method for bodysuits, hand paws, and feet? Throw it in the washing machine, put it on cold, delicate, wool-like Tide, any of that stuff that doesn't have bleach, and then let it air dry. Easy. Just don't throw your head in there. The head requires a whole other thing. But that's it. Nothing crazy with that one. Tycho Chef asks, what do you like the most about what you do? That I can do art for a living. That's probably like the simplest answer I can give you. But I also like being my own boss. I never assumed I could do this. And I've been doing it for 10 years next year. So being my own boss and doing art for a living, I mean, I get to put smiles on people's faces. That's more gratifying than a lot of jobs. So I actually genuinely feel good about what I do. So is there any particular suit or character you'd like to make? This one was asked by Ferris Theater. I would love to make something that is kind of out of the norm. Sort of like, I love puppet costumes. So I always had this vision of making this T-Rex, but like this really kind of fat T-Rex, and then you control your hands, like you stick your hands and you control the head and everything. Or have something that is partially animatronic, and the other part would be someone wearing it like a costume. So kind of like a two-person costume, only that one person's wearing it and the other person is controlling the other parts. So he's like a really, really crazy, realistic, like horror movie werewolf with a tail, because I like those tails. Kind of like a Van Helsing wolf, but actually like really build it up and make it look cool. Or like a really toony Digimon-esque sort of dinosaur that I could control with my hands and stuff. It would be kind of like a Bear in the Big Blue House, like really different. Not very comfortable, but more for show. So we got another question. This is the last question. Sometimes I get some questions that I'm gonna ask it anyways. I mean, I'm gonna read it because this is kind of ridiculous. Fina asked, do you like telephone as your friend or as your girlfriend? Really? I mean, where did this even come from? We're friends, but I don't know, telephone, hey, if you want to date, I mean, just call me up, you know? Clearly somebody wants us to date so we can be a fandom power couple. Yeah, you know you want that. No, I'm just joking, but thank you for, sending all these questions. This is awesome. I hope this answered a couple of things for you guys. If you guys want to ask specific questions for the next round, be sure to leave a comment on the section, on the bottom, comments. And that way I can use it for next time that I do this. If you guys like this, I might do it twice a month. If it's not that much fun, I'll do it once a month. Just tell me, just comment, tell me, go for it. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.